Cool. Well, welcome to another episode of Overrated. Today we're going to be talking about The Godfather. I'm Sujay.
I'm Girish.
I'm Will.
And I'm Kellyanne.
All right, and we're going to start today by doing, each of us are going to do our impression of The Godfather himself, Marlon Brando. So, I'll put in the clip that we're going to try and imitate. It's from the scene, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
So, Kellyanne, since you suggested this, would you like to go first?
This is not the order we
The closest possible Marlon Brando.
Okay, let me get my jowls, alright? Okay.
Stick your lip out.
I'm gonna make an offer you can't refuse. That's
not bad.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
You gotta do an underbite.
Yeah, put your jump.
When you do it.
It's gonna sound so bad.
Dude, I can't even enunciate if I have an underbite.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna make an offer you can't refuse. I feel like
I'm
that's
gonna
good.
make him an offer you can't refuse. At a certain point, it's unintelligible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But that's how he talks.
Ready? I'm gonna make an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, that's good.
You said
That's decent.
you ended the refuse to you enunciated too well though.
Too well?
It has to be like refuse.
It's gotta be less coherent. All right,
CJ, what
fun.
the... Hey, you have to go.
He did.
I went when
He went after
Will
me.
was gone.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
make him an offer you can't refuse.
Oh, shit.
We all sound like we're in like varying degrees of brain trauma when we try to say.
It's the degree of which your
The
teeth
ultimate
come out.
brain trauma is Marlon Brando.
He did a really... The scene,
I'm just
I
curious,
assume
did anyone choose this as their favorite scene? I didn't.
Which
but
scene? When he said that?
when he says, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make you an offer.
No.
I feel like he doesn't talk like that in real life, obviously. So I feel like good job, but like that's a hard accent to pull off. I mean, assuming he
It wouldn't be
doesn't.
that hard
actually
if he just like put something in his mouth to keep his mouth like that.
There's nothing in his
That's
mouth.
just how. I'm sure there was. He didn't just walk around like that. There's no way.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip ahead to some trivia, but he did have something in his mouth. They made a personal mouthpiece for him.
Damn,
Get fucked.
I thought he
All right,
was,
cool.
just a good actor.
This is Overrated. And we're back. Every time. All right, let's start with some categories. I watched this for the first time a few days ago. Where were you? I heard this was like the highest rated movie of all time. So like
Wait.
that's the preconception I went in on. Like it's
I
definitely
told
like
you
whenever you look up like the best movies of all time, this is always like high
Yeah,
on the
one or
list.
two.
So
But like Shawshank Redemption, which I haven't seen, is consistently number one. So I want to watch it.
No way. I've seen The Godfather #1.
Really? I'm
Like,
just like
yeah.
I feel like I've
Yeah.
seen Shawshank #1 more, but it's like always top two.
it's always up there.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so that's the preconception I went with it. And I don't know if I could say that, but I'm glad I finally watched it and got to see what the hype was about.
Yeah, same situation. Honestly, I didn't go and think it was a high, but I knew it was definitely one of the classics, and I knew like it was always talked about. And yeah, I also watched it like a couple days ago, just on my phone.
You watched it
Yeah.
on your phone?
Yeah, I watch all these movies on my phone.
That is so
That
chaotic.
was so
Oh my God.
tragic.
Kellyanne, have you seen my laptop? I have shit zoomed to like 200% out.
Girl,
Like,
I,
Why does that matter?
watch it. Yeah, your Zoom.
But like, yeah,
That's
why
still
not watch
bigger
it
than a
on your
phone screen.
laptop?
because then like
He can't watch it while he's taking
I'm
a
just
shit or
lazy, 'cause
something.
then- No, I don't take my phone to the bathroom actually, but I don't know. I just like to sit down with my phone. Like it's a lot easier to transport. You know, I can just like kick back and like go like this. And I can like move around while watching it.
Did you at least have headphones on?
No. Wait, I'm honestly. This is literally how I watch like everything though. Like straight up, unless I'm watching like a movie with my family.
That's
the hell?
insane, Girish.
So disappointed.
How can you hear anything?
I watch like the entirety of BoJack Horseman, like The Witcher, and like all these Netflix shows on my phone. Like,
Okay, BoJack Horseman's an animated show. I mean, that's different than watching.
If I spent 3 hours like watching my phone with the audio like coming out of it, I'd like lose my mind. Like
No, it's like when you first start doing it, it's like when I first got my phone. Like it's hard to get used to because you have to keep like changing the volume.
Because it fucking sucks. Yeah.
But like after a while, like you just get used to it, and like you have to position like cup your hand next to the speaker so the sound like comes at you.
That's how I watch
Yeah,
YouTube
just
videos.
use your
not-
headphones.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's how you. That's how I watch
long
YouTube.
YouTube video.
No, it's not.
Girl, it's an experience.
It's the greatest movie of all time. You just called it a 3-hour YouTube video. All right, we're moving past that.
No,
Well,
but like
I
honestly,
watched-
yeah.
I watched today, earlier today. For the first
Did you also
time.
watch it on your phone with the audio player?
No, I watched on my computer monitor with a surround sound headset on. So
Attaboy.
Flex on him.
different experience.
That's so condescending.
Kellyanne, you said you watched
Yeah,
this before?
I think I was maybe like 13 or 14, so I watched it at home with my family, or maybe just my parents. I don't think my sister's seen it, but then I rewatched it, most of it yesterday, and then the rest of it today, so I could remember a lot of the scenes, and I definitely appreciated it more the second time around. Like, I liked it the first time, but, you know, being older, like, you have more of an appreciation.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we'll move on then to our next category, score it. So, personal score first. So, like, I think it was overhyped for me. Like, it was definitely, like, good. Like, there were scenes in it which I thought were, like, really nice. But, like, as a whole, I thought it was, like, just aggressively average. So, I said 78, which is pretty low for me.
Kind of same mindset, but not like that bad. Like I think I said before, like in the chat before this, I was like, I just don't think I like these crime movies. Like I'm just not a fan of them. But this was obviously like critically acclaimed and stuff. Like I can see why it's like pretty well done. Get a lot of good acting. So I'd probably give it like an 84, maybe. Just personally. I'm just not a fan of crime movies.
No, I'm not shitting
like
on you, it's just
mob
one of the
stories, yeah.
first non-90s, so...
Yo, chill. Okay, I think after the revised system, I was giving like a lot of 85s and stuff.
Okay, cool.
Is 85 just the new
Exactly.
90? Like, I feel like he's given every movie an 84 and 85 in, like, the last few.
Nah, I gave the
That's
last
What
one.
else you
fine.
give
I gave Dark Knight like decent.
Dark Knight? Do you remember?
Like an 89 or something. I gave one of the movies that I really liked. It was like one of the recent ones. I gave it like above a 90. I don't know, but
Yeah, that was all of them.
Well,
I liked it. I mean, it was definitely overhyped in the fact that it's considered one of the greatest movies of all time. And
yeah, like, of all time, like, definitely of the time period, sure, but...
well, that's the thing is like, for a long time, I'm sure it was, and maybe not anymore in like today's culture, but I'm sure like for like at least 30 years, it was probably the greatest movie of all time at the time. So, but that said, I enjoyed it, but not like a crazy amount. So I'll give it an 80 flat.
Fair.
I guess, well, since it has, like, that nostalgic factor of having seen it already and then rewatching it, and it reminded me of a simpler time, and also, it's a type of movie that I like. Like, I really enjoy crime and, like, boy, you know, like, lots of aggressive men. Like, that's just a genre I've seen a lot of
Excuse me?
movies in, and I just, like, ended up liking them.
oh, like Magic Mike.
Nothing like that, but sure. So I guess I'd give it... And I'm also probably tainted just by the fact that I know that it's so critically acclaimed. But I guess I'll give it like a 90 flat. Like, it's something I enjoy and enjoy rewatching, but...
Is this the first time Kellyanne's had the highest rating? In
Yeah.
Well, what
For
about
sure,
Kingsman?
for
No,
sure.
I think
Kingsman.
No,
Kingsman.
Kingsman,
Kingsman.
But
It also has
like,
a lot of aggressive
That's
males
what I'm
in
saying.
But this one was, like, aggressive males, like...
I was gonna say, Kellyanne and I have seen Boondock Saints, and I liked that one
I-
more than this. And it's
It's
like
a really similar vibe, like vigilante.
movie, and I just liked that one a lot more. But it's also newer, isn't
99
Yeah, how old is that?
is when
So-
it came out, maybe 98.
it? Yeah. So
This is
maybe that has
75,
something to do
72.
with it. Like
Those
72.
are my parents were born.
Yeah, it's an old one. It's like 50
They're
years almost.
48.
48. Yeah. So.
Ingenuity.
But yeah, I'm just saying I also enjoy this type of movie, but this one, I don't know. Part of it was
Yeah, definitely. And I was telling Will.
Yeah, that was the main reason, honestly.
I was telling Will that like The Matrix, I watched like half of it, and it's one of those movies that like everyone loves, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's a game changer. And I saw half of it, and I quit, and I was like, bro, I hate this movie. And I told my dad, I was like, this
I
shit's
actually
been
really like
done
The
before.
Matrix.
And he was like, the whole reason why everyone talks about it is because it defined the genre. Which is, it's the same thing with Godfather, is like, in the 70s, this type of shit wasn't out there, and it came out, and everyone was like, oh my god, this is insane. So, like we pointed out, it's just, sometimes that hits you right, and sometimes it doesn't. And like, with The Matrix, it was not a hit for me. But with The Godfather, it was one of the first movies like this that I had seen personally, so.
Gotta put respect
Truth.
on its name.
True. All right, then Rotten Tomatoes guessing then. So like last time I said like The Dark Knight was the first movie we'd had where both the audience and the critics had the same score. Well, it happened again.
See.
So, yeah. So once again I guessed and then just chose whichever one was closer. But for you guys to guess, you can just guess the same score for both of them. So I guess 92 for both.
It has to be like 98 or something, right? This is like ranked consistently as like the top. I'd say 98.
That was going to be my guess.
I was gonna say 100.
Oh, my guess was going to be 98, but I can't do the same thing as Girish, so I'll say 97.
I say 100.
Okay. Well, it was 98. So
Yes.
for everyone who's gonna guess 98.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. So this movie won Oscars for Best Picture, Best Actor in a Leading Role, Marlon Brando, Best Writing, and Best Writing Screenplay based on material from another medium. So this was a book before it was a movie.
It's
so
also based
that's
off
where-
a true story, right? Like there's actually 5 families and stuff in no?
There are 5 families in
But-
New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
By mafia
loosely
families.
based
Yeah.
off of truth.
Like
Loosely
Corleone
based
himself,
on-
Okay, okay.
it didn't exist.
That's not a family name in the 5.
Okay.
Like I was just researching mafia honestly before this, just because I was curious. But yeah.
No, because I had heard about the 5 families before, and I was like, I feel like that's actually a thing.
You've heard about the 5 families because of The Godfather.
No. Alright.
And this movie also won 5 Golden Globes for Best Motion Picture for a Drama, Best Actor in a Motion Picture for a Drama, again, Marlon Brando, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Original Score. So, pretty well
aight.
awarded movie. Yeah. All right. We'll move then to favorite scenes and quotes. So, you guys can send me them, but you can just butt in whenever you want with yours. My first one was the horse head scene.
That's a classic.
That was disgusting.
Yeah.
That was, so
That was
gross.
the first moment of the movie where I was like just hooked into it, because like there's this nice musical build up, and like it's just really weird seeing him in bed with all the blood, and like I thought he got shot, so I'm like, he's taking this surprisingly well for being shot, but
That's
no.
right.
And then like it pans out and he's like looking at the bed, and I'm like, what is in the bed with? And like he takes off the covers and it's the horse's head. So I think that was really cool reveal, and like it's like a callback to earlier when he said like the horse is my favorite possession or something. So I think that was really good.
Yeah.
Anyone else have that? Or
I didn't love that scene
But
as much
it's
as
a real-
Yeah, it was
it was
Classic
a good
scene.
one.
it's a symbolic scene, but I wouldn't say I liked it.
I was kind of grossed out, to be honest.
I remember though the first time I watched it, I was the same. Like when it starts, like there's a little blood, and I'm like, did he do something in the night? Like, did he kill something? And then he like it's like all coating his leg and stuff, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's just so
Yeah.
much blood.
The question is how they get it in his bed and cover him
Yeah.
with this much blood, and he just
At
didn't
21
notice.
watching it, I
He's a
had more
heavy
questions
sleeper.
than I did when I was 13.
His scream is just hilarious too. Honestly, like he's like yelling, but I don't know. All right. Next scene I had was when Don Corleone gets shot. This honestly came out of nowhere for me because like I was like, is the Godfather gonna die in like the first hour of this movie? And of
Yeah,
course he
same.
does die later, but I thought it was just
Dude,
like, wow, he just got shot this
Yeah.
early.
Yeah. I was the same way. I was like, I really wonder what's going to happen from here because this guy
is
seems pretty
the
important.
Godfather.
He is the Godfather.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
I didn't think that he'd survived. Like, I
Wait.
wasn't like, there's no way
I thought
he'd
he
die.
was gonna die, like in
Yeah.
the hospital, but he survived, I guess. Yeah. Okay, next scene I have is when Michael is confronting that cop outside of the hospital. It's kind of like watching Michael turn from like not wanting to be any part of his family to like taking care of his father and stuff like that. And then like when he realizes the cop is dirty and like he gets all mad and stuff, like I think that was just a really nice thing for his character as well. I'll keep going if you want to say anything else to say about that. But yeah, next scene I had was Michael killing Salazzo and McCluskey, which is the cop.
Mettiamo tutto a posto. Sti fissaria. Siete finiti.
I said this was just like a really tense moment because it's the first time like Michael's like killed anyone for the mob. Like it's just like out of his character, I guess. So I wanted to see how it went down. I kept waiting for something to go wrong, honestly, but nothing went wrong. So I thought that was really cool.
That was a scene that I remembered from the rewatch and that I was looking forward to seeing again. Like the tension when he's pulling the thing from behind the box and he can't find it. I was like, my heart was beating. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, for sure. Next thing I have is when Sonny gets killed.
Son of a bitch.
So this is another scene that comes out of nowhere for me because like the build up for this is that Sonny's on his way to kill Carlo for beating on Connie, and then you just get blindsided with this.
That was probably one of my favorite scenes, like the whole getting stopped at the toll booth, and he's like,
yeah, that was a good one.
Quite a bit of overkill
like,
too. Like
yeah,
you have 20 guys.
all with automatic rifles.
Yeah, shooting one dude in the car. Like
I mean, apparently last time when they did it to Vito, it didn't work, so they got
That was
that
two
was
guys
just a
with
drive-by
handguns.
pop. This one was like 20 guys. Just
stop him at the booth. That's probably one of my favorite scenes, actually. Yeah, it's very, very well done.
And then the last scene that I have is the baptism
Michael
murders.
Francis Rizzi, do you renounce Satan?
I do renounce him.
And all his works?
I do renounce them.
And all his pomps?
I do renounce them.
Michael Rizzi, will you be baptized? In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Michael Rizzi, go in peace, and may the Lord be with
That was
you.
good.
That's my favorite.
This is definitely the climax of the movie. The organ's playing, and plus like the priest is talking, like and doing the baptism, and then all these murders going on in the background.
It gave me super Game of Thrones vibes from the one where Cersei like blows up the whole temple thing. Mm-hmm. It gave me like that kind of feel, you know. Spoilers.
Yeah, it reminded me of. I know Will knows what I'm talking about, but I'm no spoilers. But there's that one scene in Breaking Bad with the prison. In the last season, when.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So if you know what I'm talking about, it's pretty cool that like this was like years and years before that, but it had the same like.
Hey, it's also like the prequel when they execute Order 66.
Yeah. And I said this scene is also like real symbolic of Michael taking over as the Godfather, both like literally becoming a Godfather for their baby and then figuratively. All right, those are all my scenes. You guys have any you wanted to add?
I thought the last scene was pretty good. I thought it was a good way to end a movie.
I
was a good
really
one
liked
for
the
sure.
shot
Yeah.
of
It was-
Kay.
Of the door like closing as she finds out, it's like, oh, he actually is
Yeah.
the Godfather now. I thought that was a good scene. I thought it was very well done.
I liked the first scene that, I'm sure is like super popular. A lot of people say that, but I like the sounds like when you listen.
Like the wedding?
No, like when, I guess, yeah, technically the wedding's part of it, but the beginning when people are like coming into a dark room.
Oh, yeah.
And I like hearing
yeah.
the chair creak in his voice, and like he takes his time with stuff. They're really developing him.
Hello.
And I like that. And also I really like the wedding scene. And all the scenes that like make you feel like you're not where you are, like watching the movie, like I liked when he went to Italy and it just felt completely different, and it was I don't know.
Yeah, the
Wish
whole
you experienced that, because
Yeah.
if he looked anywhere away from the middle of the screen, then he would just see his room.
I was gonna say I thought the whole Italy thing was kind of cool because it felt like a completely different movie.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And all
It's a
of
good little
the
segue.
scenes where they're emphasizing family, like they have a lot of scenes like holidays in the movie, obviously, like to show you how important family
The
is.
passage of time.
Well, that too. But I also like when Vito came back from the hospital and he was like on the cot and they were bringing him up with the baby crying and stuff. Like it all just felt very familial, like it made you think
Yeah.
that it was realistic, and it just like hearing the baby cry kind of made it sink in that this was a family affair.
Yeah.
I like the scene where he goes back to the guy from the very beginning who owes him a favor, at the morgue, and he's like, I need you to do your best work on this kid on Sunday.
Yeah.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Yeah.
Look how they massacred.
I really like that scene though, because it's like the first time any of the men are nice, or like he didn't have his own best interest in mind, or like or power in mind. It was like he was using a favor to exactly. But it's like that's like the first time we saw that. I feel like even at his own daughter's wedding, he was like all business. So
Yeah, I also liked
yeah,
at
that was
the
like a-
funeral at the end, the way Mike has to keep being taken away, or how he's talked to about business. I thought it was cool how at the beginning his dad was being taken away from a wedding and now he's being taken away from a funeral. It was like just like full circle kind of thing.
Oh, did not think about that. Yeah.
Parallelism.
At all.
And yeah, like I think one of the things they focus on is like the division of like personal stuff and then business stuff, because he only talks business in that room, and then there's a wedding going outside, and the same thing at the end.
also the scene where Michael and his dad are talking, like it's sitting in the chairs towards the end where his dad's
Yeah,
like
he's
about
talking
to
about the
die.
line. I like that one too.
Yeah,
That's a good scene.
and he's like, the line I remember is he asked if he was happy with his wife and kid, and Michael said yeah, and it was just like, I guess he knew like what was coming, like how. That's what I took from it. Like he knew that if he would, like, he was gonna become Don, and then it was, like, you can see it in the very last scene, like how unhappy his wife is. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Mike or Vito knows everything by the end. I feel.
Yeah.
True. All right. Any other scenes that you want to talk about?
I think we covered them.
All right. Then we'll move on to the Zuko Award, which character has the best development. So, I had Michael.
I said Michael.
He has the worst development.
What?
I mean, like, the worst is in I hate him.
Oh, like he goes to, like his development is him becoming like a shitty person. Yeah.
He's like
You
the
can like it or
opposite of
hate it.
Zuko. He goes from a good guy to a bad guy.
Quite the opposite, yeah. Michael.
Wait, I need to think about it. I didn't think about this.
I probably would say the same. Like,
I feel like he's the only one who changes.
Well, I
drastically.
think
What's
Big
Brown?
Don.
I want to say.
yeah,
I'll say Vito. I
He
want to say
changes
Vito
for sure, but it's just
Yeah.
like less noticeable.
because he becomes good
He
too.
doesn't become good. He just
He
is a
becomes
little
as
soft.
good as he can be for a mob boss.
Yeah, he becomes softer.
That doesn't make him good.
Oh, it's also.
I thought he was, like, he wasn't soft at any point, but I thought, like,
I thought he was
he
very.
had, like,
I
he
thought he
was-
was like his values were pretty set in place for the whole movie. Except
yeah, like,
maybe
at the
a
beginning of the
little
movie, he's, like, sympathetic to, like, the actor guy who wanted his help, and so, like, I think that showed he had, like,
He definitely
It's
has
like
always been sympathetic, and the whole point of the movie is that like he puts his family in front of everything. But I just like he started when he like semi-retired or whatever. It was like the power wasn't important anymore, and he was just like all focused on family at that point.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I mean, I said Michael because I said this is kind of like this is really his story more so than Vito's. Like you watch him change. Like at the beginning of this movie, he's like this war hero and he just does not want to be involved with his family at all. And then at the end, he's the head of the family, and just watching him transition from the beginning to the end was really cool. And he loses a lot of people along the way too, like his dad, his brother, his wife from Italy, watching him like internalize all this loss and become like this heartless leader at the end with nothing to lose was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he goes like he has the most story. He has the storyline where I feel like he changes the most because he starts off as like a war veteran, then he like becomes some crime boss at the end. So it's pretty opposite side of the spectrum. And
Yeah,
most of what you said.
start out not knowing much about, like, you feel like you have Vito's number, you know, he's like a mob boss, and there are only so many places you can go with that. But then the fact that he's a war vet, you're like, oh, like, are we going to learn more about that? And then he goes away to Italy, and you don't really know what's going on, and he randomly gets married to someone, and then he comes back, and he randomly gets married to someone else. He just, like, you kind of don't know where he's going, but by the end, like, you feel like you know him. I would say I feel like I know him. Mm-hmm. He's a more vengeful version of his dad, or the Salazzo guy, or whoever. You know, he killed that guy the way Salazzo killed one of their guys, Abrazzi or whoever, and so
he like choked him. Or wait, I remember I was like reading, and like it's like what he does is actually like it has a name, right?
Rear naked choke.
No, like you guys keep talking. I'll tell you when I find it. Cool, thanks.
I mean, what do you want us to do? Move on?
Okay, wait.
Are you saying you found it's a name of the technique?
Yeah.
To kill him, or?
Yeah. Because I remember I was like reading. I was trying to read up on this because like I was confused about the names and like who was ranking who and stuff, and they mentioned this again, like how they kill him. They garroted him, which is a method of using a chain rope or a scarf to strangle a person, and it can be used as a weapon, like using one of those as a weapon. But I saw that word mentioned twice, which I thought was odd when I was trying to catch up on what happened.
So, what was the?
Oh, a garrote.
Why is that important?
Oh, like he did. That's the same way he killed.
I was saying that it was the same way that's
like it has a name. I was saying it has a name apparently. That specific method of killing.
Okay.
Good news.
I don't know. Okay,
I thought you said there's some like
I thought it was
symbolism or
interesting
something
because
I was missing.
Girish, shut up. Because Mike directed someone to kill someone else that way, but in the beginning, one of Corleone's guys got killed that way by Salazzo or whoever. So I'm saying he's becoming this vengeful guy who originally was his enemy.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
And now we know there's a name.
There is a name for it? No, because I specifically remember when I was like reading about this movie, I was like, I've seen that word twice, but.
No,
All right.
knows. And I bet you everyone's already forgotten what the word was.
I already forgot what it is. What is it, Garat?
Girish forgot too.
It's like
G-A-R-O-T.
Yeah, it's good.
Alright, cool. We'll keep it going then. Next category, sequel or prequel. I'm just curious, has anyone seen the other two parts of this trilogy?
I have not.
Kellyanne, you're the most likely.
I haven't.
So I think moving from this
Michael.
movie, the obvious sequel is that like Michael's the head of the family now, and
he is
story
Godfather
commences.
too.
And I think the obvious prequel is going back to how Vito became the Godfather and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I was just reading the summary for the second movie in the trilogy, and I think both of those are covered in that movie. It's like a parallel, like contrasting movie where they show like Vito like becoming the Godfather, and then they also show Michael and they show out the differences between them. So I thought that was pretty cool. Godfather 2 has 97 on Rotten Tomatoes for both too. So
97?
I think that must be a really good movie too. Godfather 3 takes a dip, but At least the first two must be
They
good.
always go one more than they should have. Gotta get the money.
True. But yeah, so I think sequel and prequel is pretty set
Yeah.
and done.
I support it.
Apparently, the sequel is also a prequel. So, from what you said,
I was saying that I was curious how in the last scene, like, and just the end, how Michael like became like a vengeful asshole. How like maybe that I was like curious, like that might be how Vito was when he started out, because like that's
Like,
how you
nice.
get power.
Possibly.
they
but-
could make
yeah.
a prequel maybe on like how the whole Corleone family starts, like becoming a mob. You know, that could possibly be one. I don't know if that's
Would that not
discussed.
have been Vito?
Did Vito not?
I mean, like, I was reading up on like mafias and like how they started, and apparently like just the whole concept of like mafias started back in like Sicily. So like, it's like a really old thing. Like, I'm not sure. Like, even like just when immigrants came to America, they brought it all with them. So it's not so much that like it started with one dude who's like, let's make my family a mafia, but like, it's a very ingrained thing in their culture.
Hate the government.
Welcome.
The mob.
All right, then we're zooming through these now. Next one, Parallel Universe and Trivia.
All right,
Yeah.
hit us up.
So I got some stuff here. All right. So first thing, Paramount, which is the studio that made this movie, they wanted this movie to originally be more modern and shot in 1970s Kansas City.
Kansas
The director,
fucking city.
Coppola, like, yeah, don't
Kansas
know why,
City,
but
Missouri.
yeah, but the director wanted to keep this a period drama and set in post World War II New York City. So he fought for it, and like thankfully he did it, because I think it comes off a lot better that way than
What
if
was
they
it
made it
happening
modern.
in the 70s?
Are there even
man?
Italians in Kansas
Yeah.
City, Missouri? Like,
No, it was just shot in Kansas City. I don't know if it was actually gonna be set in Kansas City.
Oh, you're saying like the shooting.
Yeah. They also, so the cast, they used to have family dinners where everyone would stay in character, and that kind of helped everyone learn their
That's
their
kind of
roles
funny
and
to
their
think
parts.
about.
That's cute.
Yeah, it reminds me of like, you know, that Victorious episode when
Yeah,
everyone has
yeah,
a
yeah.
character and they have to stay in character
Sleep over at
the whole
Psychowitz.
night. Yeah. In hindsight, I think that might have been a reference to The Godfather, but it's in Victorious, so who knew that?
Dan Schneider, man.
He's like, yeah, and this key example from the Godfather. We're gonna put this in a Victorious episode. Next thing, Robert De Niro was considered for the role of Sonny, and at the time he didn't take it, but later on he becomes, I like looked this up later, but in The Godfather 2 he plays the young Vito, so
I was gonna say
Robert De Niro.
I was gonna say Robert De Niro, and I was like, he should be Vito, but then I realized this was in the 70s, and he was
Young, yeah.
probably not as old as I remember
he
him
looks
now.
young as hell in
Yeah,
The Godfather 2.
that's what I was thinking. I was like, Robert De Niro. I was like, oh yeah, that was who I would say you were like for Sonny. I was like, what? But yeah,
Yeah, he looks young as hell, and like,
I mean, he got his wish in The Irishman, because he is basically the Vito of that movie.
Well, we didn't finish it, so we don't really
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
we didn't finish it. I don't
Isn't
even
his name,
remember
like Vito
really
in,
his
in
character.
Irishman too. or
Could have
something? I swear that's his name in Irishman.
I don't know. I don't remember like legitimately anything from that.
I'm sorry. I realized after watching this though that it's like an exact copy of The Godfather.
Oh no,
like,
it
not
is.
exact-
Yeah.
like, but like in style and
It is a mob
story.
movie, yeah.
I think all mob movies are like to a certain extent, at least like with Italian mob. Like,
Because yeah, like
It's
Kellyanne said, this kind of
similar.
popularized the genre, so a lot of the tropes are like straight from this.
Yeah, but they're not all like I've seen like we've seen other ones. Like they're not all 3
Yeah,
hours
obviously
long
the
about
plot
about
is
the five
different.
families. You know, I mean that's
Yeah.
plot's different, but
Yeah.
there's certain characteristics that might make it the same. This one's just kind of gross, but we were talking about the horse head scene. So it turns out the horse head they used in that scene was not a prop. It was an actual
wondering
horse
how
head,
it looks so realistic. That's gross.
which they got from a local dog food company, which just begs the question:
was it?
Yeah,
Why
like,
did it?
there
die?
is horse in dog food.
Jesus fuck.
I guess that the dogs eat horse heads.
Why did it?
I
die?
guess so.
Yeah. What the? Okay. I mean,
So, next, the scene where they broke that dude, like the FBI photographer's camera at the wedding, that was improvised. So, like, when you see the photographer, like, freak out and he's, like, genuinely scared, like, he actually had no idea what was happening. James King is the guy who played. I don't even remember who broke the camera, but he said he made the decision to throw money at him because he said, "Where I come from, when you break something, you replace it or you repay the owner." So like when he throws the money at him
Yeah,
after
I
he
thought it
breaks
was
it.
That's
such
what
a
I kind of
baller
assumed
move.
it was for.
Was
Yeah,
like, I
yeah,
was like,
it's
Yeah.
a big baller move.
I didn't realize I was like an FBI agent. I thought he was just some photographer, and I was like,
That's
oh.
what I thought too. Yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Next thing I had, Paramount Studios also didn't want Marlon Brando to play the part of Vito. So they made 3 conditions when they were going to consider him. 1, Brando has to do a screen test, which I think it's like offensive to ask like a high like name actor to do screen tests when they audition for roles. So that was one condition. They also said, secondly, if cast, Brando has to do the entire movie for free. And
What?
3, Brando would have to personally put a bond to make up for potential losses caused by his infamously bad on-set behavior.
Wait, what? Why?
So-
Am I missing something? Why did he have to do all this? Like, did he really badly want to make this movie and it was just so bad? Or what?
I think Marlon Brando is kind of like he was really a dramatic actor, and like he said like he had infamously bad like an infamously bad like on-set behavior, so don't know why they had all this, but
Bad
apparently
locker
so
room presence.
the director ended up tricking Brando into doing what he called like a makeup test, but this was actually the screen test for the studios. And after the executives saw like how good he was in the role for it, they ended up dropping the second and third conditions.
Yeah,
so.
that makes sense. I mean, would he have done the movie for free and like he'd like basically lose his
No,
money?
like when it says when you do a movie for free, that means you only get paid if the movie does well. So
Oh. Okay.
yeah, so like most actors will get paid a certain amount regardless of how the movie does, and then they'll get paid on top of how that so.
I wonder what the Cats people made.
Yeah,
They're
we
all
gotta go
fucking
keep
rich
that.
anyways because the whole cast was like already
Yeah.
stars. They just
Yeah.
agreed to do it.
It was only the studio that lost
Yeah,
it
I'm just
for
wondering how
long.
much money they lost by paying all the actors.
I think Cats 2 is actually in production.
Oh god.
Like I don't quote me on it, but I think I saw something like that.
Cats actor Idris Elba.
That's so unfortunate.
I mean, that's a stain on his name.
I know, honestly.
Sexiest man alive and Cats actor Idris Elba.
He's gonna have to
All right,
live
last
with that.
trivia point that I have is what Will said earlier was that Marlon Brando, he did put stuff in his mouth to take on the role of Vito. So in his audition, he put cotton wool into his cheeks because he wanted Don Corleone to look like, quote, a bulldog. And in the movie, he has a specially made mouthpiece to get this look. So that's pretty cool.
Made him
I guess it makes sense that he wanted him to look like a bulldog because I did wonder, like,
I assumed it's
He
because
does,
like
he does, like, in hindsight, the underbite and everything.
Yeah, my theory was that like he lost a lot of teeth because he like got into fights and stuff, and like that would make
it doesn't
sense.
make your mouth look like that.
Depends which
You'd have to,
teeth
like,
he
pull out
lost.
jaw, like...
Yeah, it's not gonna. Yeah, it's all like his bite is messed up.
Hey, Michael breaks his jaw. Remember? So like maybe
Yeah,
someone broke
Michael.
Vito's jaw in a
Oh
specific
yeah,
way.
I didn't write this down in trivia, but I read it. Michael was also like a method actor, like Al Pacino. So when he broke his jaw after that scene, he actually wore like a wire to like simulate a broken jaw. So that's also pretty cool.
Yeah, so maybe Vito broke his jaw in a similar way, and that's why it's just like.
People break their jaw all the time. It doesn't look like that afterward. It's just like a weird thing to like, because I was like, it's not based off a real life person. So like, I wonder how they came up with the idea of doing that. It gives him like a.
Let's give him a bulldog look.
Like
I mean,
he's
he got-
like he's like the all powerful Godfather, you know, but that gives him like a. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
like
to call it like a.
It's not like a
blemish.
weakness, but like yeah,
It's a defining
it's
characteristic.
an interesting choice for sure. Yeah. All right, then we'll keep going. Next category, personal impact. I only had one thing for this, and it was about mafias. I think it's kind of cool to see how tight knit the family is, and how like it's very hard to escape like all of the dealings that goes on with them. Like Michael tries for the longest time not to get involved, and it only takes his dad like getting a shot to get like make it impossible for him. I think that was really cool to see like just the family dynamics that are at play there, and like how people who weren't even like technically in the family, like Tom, I think,
Yeah,
he
Tom I think
considers
is
himself part of the
technically
family.
adopted. Yeah, like not adopted, but like he's also like one of their sons, kind of.
by name.
Yeah. I would say personal impact for me maybe is that like I kind of understood where all the pop culture references come from, because I finally seen The Godfather and a lot of them come from The Godfather, so it made sense to see all the stuff. I was like, hey, I've seen that before, but I should actually be like, oh, they stole it from The Godfather, you know. So
Yeah.
I guess it was kind of
This is
cool
the
to
source
see.
material.
Yeah, it was cool to see where all of it originally came from, and yeah, that was the main personal impact for me. I don't really relate much to this.
Yeah, I enjoyed like thinking about how like there were actual like this is how it was in like the 40s or whatever,
50s, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, post World War II.
Like I enjoy the thought of like that, like it didn't happen exactly like this, but they were powerful families, and this is how like they acted, and you know, like that's what I took from it. I guess it really put me in the setting.
Similar to Sujay, I was thinking about how tight-knit the family was, and I personally don't have a very big family, so for me it makes me like wonder if that's an accurate representation and if I would like it. And then also when you see at the end Kay is like, did you kill him, and he says no, and then when you see her betrayed expression at the end when she realizes that, you know, he's not all that he seems, I was thinking, how do you, like, some people are so trapped, you know, like she couldn't possibly divorce him, what could she do? So then it made me think about what people living like that, who like against their will, are experiencing.
If your family was part of the mafia, do you think you'd be able to refuse being a part of it? Anyone can answer.
I don't know. It depends on like if I was taken care of like from a young age, like, and that we were a really close family, then it would be hard. You know? It's hard to say no to people like that when they've like loved you your whole life and like how much they love each other.
Yeah, I imagine it being like a Michael thing. Like he goes off and he's like, no, I won't do this, and then just gets pulled in eventually. If you're not immediately pulled in and you don't have to run off to the military and then come back to do it.
No one says no to the mafia.
Yeah.
It's like if your dad like spoiled you as a kid and he just loves you like that much, and then you grow old enough to like be able to help him and you just refuse, like that's pretty cold-hearted. Even
Yeah, how far do you go though? Yeah, like would you like taking care of them is one thing, but then like if he's like, all right, I need you to go kill this dude.
I don't think I would do that, but like again, I can't say because apparently they're a very close family, so
it's hard.
It's hard to tell. Yeah. Once you're in, you are in. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll move then to our last two categories. Most underrated first. I actually had what Girish said earlier about there's so many references to pop culture that come from this movie. I just listed some. Marlon Brando's accent, of course. Sitting in the chair, stroking the cat. I didn't even notice that the first time I watched that scene, but then like later I looked back and I was like, oh wow, like that's something that you see a lot. Look how they massacred my boy, the meme.
Look how they massacred my boy.
This is a really old movie, so like this is referenced in movies that are like what we consider classics now too, like Star Wars, like Point Break and Sopranos.
Yeah.
They all have like aspects of this in there. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool how old it was. I said not just like Michael's character development, but like how heartless he is at the end. I think that moment when he point blank tells Carlo that he's not gonna kill him, and then he kills him. So I think just showing how heartless he is at the end is just really something that resonates. Underrated for you guys?
Girish?
Not much, I would say. It's a pretty like hyped movie. I guess, yeah, I think about it, like a lot of the tropes that come from mob movies. I guess you could say in like that way it's underrated because like it was something new for the time. It kind of defined the genre, and it kind of took a big risk by making like this big movie with a lot of characters and a lot of stuff to kind of define the genre, and it didn't really know how it would pan out, and it did a good job of like setting a precedent for these kinds of movies. So, but like again, it's kind of acknowledged as a really good movie, so it's kind of hard to say there's underrated stuff in it.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, that even though like I personally didn't, I gave it an 80. You can't acknowledge enough of like how much it did for the whole genre and like even movies in general for the next however 50 years. So yeah, that would be it.
For me, a lot of it probably isn't underrated, but like I mentioned earlier, I really like the sound, like the way they mixed it. the audio specifically. So I guess maybe that's underrated because I don't hear people talk about it, and that's the part that stands out so much to me, is like how clearly you can hear them speaking and all the background noises, and that like plays a really big part to me in the experience of it.
Yeah, that was cool for sure. Yeah, I think that's all I have for this as well. Then we guess we'll just truck on to the last category, most overrated. So I had 3 things total. I definitely probably thought of more during the movie, but I just can't remember now. So first I said 3 hours is too long.
That was mine. I was just gonna say.
Yeah, I also thought like I stopped halfway through to take a break and go do some other stuff, and like right at the halfway point was after Michael killed the police guy. And
Oh yeah.
that was like the end of that scene was like an hour and a half, and I was
Dang.
like, that's a perfect ending to a movie right there. Like,
Yeah.
and then
So
there was
my
even
thing-
like a little musical interlude after that with the guy playing piano before. I can't remember what the next scene was, but I remember like sitting back down and the guy's playing piano. And I was like, they literally like this is the halfway point.
This
like,
could be a
they
movie,
acknowledge this. So
Yeah.
Interesting you say that. They actually thought about putting an intermission in the middle of the movie, but they decided not to because they thought it would ruin the flow.
like it felt like they put one without actually putting one, you know, like with the piano.
I said like the beginning I think was kind of slow for me until it got to that point where like he got shot and then like you're like, oh shit is happening now. But I think the reason that I thought it was too long is that this movie has like a lot of captivating scenes, but this movie plays like scene to scene, so like there's a lot of just dead space in between these iconic scenes, which is like conversations that are like really long, and I didn't get the point of them in the scope of the entire movie. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I was gonna
So-
say another thing for me that I thought was overrated is there was a lot of characters to keep track of, especially initially, and like as soon as I started keeping track of one, they like almost immediately died. So I mean,
you
like
don't have
not
to keep
to,
track of them anymore.
yeah, I guess, but it was a little confusing at first, and I think I did have to Google who was who at some point while watching the movie because I just did not know what was going on.
Yeah, for the longest time, I didn't realize that Carlo and Connie were the people who got married at the beginning of the movie.
yeah.
I was just like, that's some couple in the like wedding, but I guess so.
No, it was a little confusing to keep track of. So
Yeah, that's like the idea though, is how big the family is.
yeah, I guess maybe they did that on purpose.
Wait, so okay, like the family hierarchy is Vito's at the top, and then his children are Michael, Sonny, and Connie, and then
And he has one more.
Tom is like their
Tom is the pseudo
adopted.
kid.
No, they have one
Yeah.
more. They have a middle child.
Who?
Like
That was
Fredo.
three.
Fredo. Fredo's
yeah,
the middle
but-
son.
Yeah, but he got shipped off to Nevada.
Yeah, but he's.
Oh, okay, I genuinely had no idea who that was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's
See,
the
what I'm
guy
saying. I didn't
when-
know
when
that
he's
because I
talking
looked it
to-
up. Yeah.
The casino leader.
And he's like, don't
I
ever
didn't
turn
know.
against
That's why he was, like,
his family
offended.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he was offended because.
Okay, yeah.
That's
I know.
no-
But he's
Like,
not
that's
super
what-
important in the whole.
But that's why I was
'cause that's-
confused. Like I'm telling you, I didn't know that either. I had
Yeah,
to
so
look
like
it up.
that's part of it too. Is like, why is his character even in it if he's not part of anything?
But that's the thing is like the family's just that big. Like they have people everywhere. They have
This guy's, like,
even
their
the
son.
minor roles. They have people to do it for.
Yeah, I guess. But like all of that stuff, I think could have made the movie a little bit shorter, and then I wouldn't have thought it was long.
Yeah.
I also had like okay, so like I understand it's in the 70s, like there's a certain level of like just like action and special effects that you just have to deal with, but just there's this
The
one
fight
fight
scene
scene between Sonny and
yeah.
Carlo.
Yeah, that's
Sonny and
Really
Carlo.
bad.
It's so funny.
There's one punch that the camera's dead on. And
No
you can see
contact.
it miss by so much.
It's like this.
That's
That
just
scene
poor
is-
film. That's just poor filming
Yeah,
because
like-
like you just shouldn't have you shouldn't have that at that angle.
You shouldn't have that.
was
Like they
so
could totally have
funny.
avoided it. I don't understand why that was.
And
part
then
of
even
it.
after that, it probably wasn't that bad. But you're just caught up in having seen that, and you're like,
No,
from
like
then
no,
on, you're, like,
yeah.
thinking
There's
about-
that just
You're
entire
like, is
fight
this fake?
sequence. Like he's like kneeing him, and like you can just physically see him missing it, and then like he's like curb stomping him, and he's just like completely missing. Yeah, I don't like that's like the level of movie I could make, but like
Yo,
It
dude,
was
we had some legit
1972.
fight scenes in our movie we made senior year.
yeah. So like
It's not that hard.
don't know what that was about.
And when's the Legend of Darkison podcast coming in?
Yo, when's Mike Slom podcast coming out? You know, they removed the copyright strike.
Yeah,
a
give the
couple,
people what they want.
yeah, a couple months ago they removed the copyright strike on it. Which I didn't even know. That means someone from Fox watched their movie and copyright claimed it, and then someone else watched it and they're like, "Nah, you're good."
Okay, no, give us what we want. Okay, last thing that I had was that Michael, when he goes to Italy, he has this whole thing with that Italian girl. Her name is like Apollonia, and like he has this whole like love, like marriage and stuff there. And then when he comes back, he doesn't tell Kay about it, right?
I assume he doesn't.
No,
She
she
never
doesn't
happens of it again.
Then
So,
again, as
like-
you can tell at the end of the movie, he does not tell Kay a lot of stuff that happened. So
But those are just like strictly stuff about the family. This is like just him having a whole affair that he didn't tell her about.
Yeah, the
So I
only
think
thing
that was kind of
that
fun.
I thought that about the only thing that like made that entire time of him being in Italy like part of the movie was that like it showed him like growing up, I guess, and like before that he was like not. I mean, he killed the two guys, but then during that time in Italy was like when he became like capable of being a part of the family.
Yeah.
And not, like
When
learning
she
the way of
died,
life.
he flipped complete. Like he came back and he was a vengeful man.
Yeah. Yeah. But other than that, I was like, it felt like a lot of time spent on him in Italy for no real reason. But I guess it was like developing their relationship. But I don't know.
Yeah, if you think about it, most of the tragedies happens while he's in Italy because his brother dies while he's in Italy, and that's when he gets called back. And then like right as he gets called back, she dies. And then I guess that severs all ties he has to have with Italy.
That's what made it feel so dumb is like he went to Italy, left, and like if you look at the beginning and end, like nothing that happened in Italy came
Yeah,
back
it
with
doesn't
him.
This
really
last thing
matter,
that
yeah. But stuff happened for sure.
Yeah.
I was also dumb that I didn't have subtitles for it, so I couldn't understand a single word that was
Oh,
said.
you
You
didn't
didn't
have
have
subtitles?
subtitles for any
Oh.
part of the movie?
I did for the whole movie, but like when they were speaking in full Italian, there was
There
no
like
translation.
wasn't for part of
I
the
didn't
Italian
have that
scenes,
either.
but then some of them, like when he's like, "Oh, girl with the purple dress," like there were subtitles for that part. If
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they broke into English, they had subtitles for it.
I didn't
But
have
when it was, like, full
subtitles.
Italian.
I didn't have subtitles.
Yeah,
for
I
that
just
either.
don't think
kinda
there were
assumed that was
subtitles. Because none of us had
I
them.
think
Yeah,
we
You
just
don't know
listened.
Italian.
Yeah, but
But
we all
even-
also watched legally. So
Yeah, but at the dinner, when he's about to kill the police guy, I didn't have subtitles for a lot of it. For any of it.
I honestly can't remember. I mean, it's pretty
but it's
small on my
different
screen.
for
you know?
like one part of a scene versus like an entire like half hour of the movie where he's in a different country and you can't understand a single word anyone's saying.
All right. Does anyone have any other overrated stuff?
I think they
Not
kill a
really.
lot of people just to like tie up loose ends. So like, on the one hand,
Hey, that's how the mafia works.
it's
I mean.
necessary.
Like main
Well,
characters,
like
or
they kill Sonny, they kill the wife in Italy, they kill that they kill the guy, the Salazzo guy kills their helper. Like just a lot of people die, and it seems like they're all dying so we can advance the plot. I don't know. Like,
yeah, the wife for sure. I felt like that was literally just to get him out
Yeah.
of Italy. Like,
Hey, that's how the mafia works, man. I mean,
that was an accident. They were trying to kill Michael,
yeah.
I guess.
So that's
but
I guess
yeah,
that
the
makes
only
sense,
thing.
yeah. They may have been a little too extreme with that.
Yeah, not even. Yeah, just that it seemed cheap.
I mean, it's all like they say like all of these characters just died to improve Michael's character, not because they had like their own character
Yeah.
arcs or anything. And like I guess using people's deaths just to get like motivation out of someone is kind of cheap, but it was also the 70s,
Yeah,
so
were they all just fucking
I guess no one had done that before.
Everything was cheaper back then. Am I
Hey,
right?
inflation joke.
All right, cool. Anything else anyone wants to say about this movie?
No, not really.
I'm glad everyone
Yeah.
finally ended up watching it. Just
Is that
Except
was that
for Brian.
supposed to mean?
Screw that
Except for
guy.
Brian.
Is this a roast?
note that he's not here.
All right. Well, then thank you everyone who has been listening to Overrated.
We should give a heads up for next episode to the people.
Yeah,
'cause they
so-
definitely have not seen the movie we're about to do.
Our next episode is 3 Idiots, but that will also be the last episode of our season. So be on the lookout for that. Continue to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow our Instagram at Overrated Podcast. I didn't tell Kellyanne this because you weren't on that podcast last time we did this, but I'm going to release all these episodes on YouTube as well. So subscribe to our YouTube
Like
account.
the recordings or our faces?
Overrated Podcast. No, just
Oh, okay.
the audio. I didn't record this.
Yeah, I haven't been cute for all of this.
We should do that next season though. We should record like.
We can try doing it next episode. Or,
We can test it next episode. We'll see.
yeah.
No promises.
Yeah. Thank you for listening and stay safe.
Love you guys.